What's fostering done for you, do you think, as people, as a family, or if you're on your own? What's it given to you in your life? What about you, Dave?
Well, it's like I say, I probably was at a stage in my life when I thought, oh, what I'm going to do, what should I do next? And it really has fulfilled my life. That's the overall. I mean, there's a lot of downs and there's a lot of ups to it. Yeah. And generally, over the looking back over the 10 years, I think it's enhanced my life. I know that.
In what way?
The fact that I really do buy into the fact that you are looking after two children who need somebody. I mean, they absolutely, all the children do. In the way the society is, they are pulled out of that, and they need our help. There's no question about it, and I still get a good feeling out of that.
I was just thinking that I applied to be a foster carer with my husband a few years before I was. And partway through the process, we've just put it on hold because it just didn't fit with our family dynamics, and you don't know until you're going through the process whether it's going to fit. So I think I felt a loss for quite a few years afterwards, and I really wanted to be a foster carer. So fast forward a decade or so, and then I find myself divorced and on my own. And my two older children had left home. I'd got one at home who was, at that age, he was 16. And I'm just like, well, I had a chat with a friend, and she said, we were talking about our dreams and what have you missed out on? I said, well, I really wanted to be a foster carer. And I'm like, well, I'm over 50 now. That can't, just like you were saying. And because I work for the local authority, the fostering department is on the same floor as my office. So my friend said, be brave, go and pop your head in and see. So I did. So I went in, and the next thing you know, I'm filling paperwork in my lunch break, and away we go. But like yourself, I feel so fulfilled because I felt I still had a lot more to give. And if I'm really honest, I've learned from things that didn't work quite so well with my own boys, my own children. So I've learned, well, let's not try that one this way, let's do it a different way. And I feel I'm on my own now. I'm the only adult in the house, and because my youngest is now gone off to university. But I feel fulfilled, and it doesn't matter who's coming, I just go, you can do this. And I phone a good friend. I've got some really good support network, and I'll just phone someone and say, just remind me why I'm doing this. And they repeat back to me all the things I've told them over the years. But I feel I have a purpose, more of a purpose now, because I'm a sociable person, so I get to see somebody, I get to look out for somebody, and a lot of my placements are looking to go into independent living, so we do a lot of baking, you know, like you were saying, cooking, and again, side by side in the kitchen, baking,
So you're teaching
cooking,
them life skills? Teaching
them life skills, using the washing machine, you know, they all know how to use a washing machine, and etc. And it's just really, it's good company for me as well. It's company for me. And then, so, as I say, when the door shuts, it's just me and the dog. Even the dog takes offence as if to say, it's just you now, isn't it? Just you and me. Okay.
My children are from a sibling group of 7. And so they're all different ages. I have the youngest set. And you can see they're all have gone through fostering and gone into the care homes. And you can see how it works with them as to the children. So my children living in a home, I think are a lot better prepared, or getting prepared. They're 10 and 12 now. And yeah, that's one of the observations I've got.
But I would say that's a credit to you as well, giving them the stability of their home life that they perhaps would need.
Yeah. And I've not done anything special. I've just lived life.
We don't need to be special, do we?
Yeah. I think people's conception of being a foster carer is something that they're not. You know, people...
We ain't Mother Teresa.
A lot of people say, you know, when you're out and about, people will say, I'd love to be a foster carer, but I'm not sure. And I always say, ring up and ask. Nobody will ever knock at your door and say, would you like to be a foster carer? Ring and ask. If you've got all that information, then you can make an informed decision. But if you don't know what's involved and what you've got to commit to and what impact it will have on your life, then you can't make that decision and nobody else will make it for you. And a lot of people look when you say that, yeah, but I don't. But you don't need to be anybody special to apply.
No.
But I only live in a 3-bedroomed house. I was like, well, you know, you might only need a 3-bedroomed house, and so I encourage people all the time to ring and make that inquiry. If you ring and make the inquiry and they say, actually, no, that's not for me, then you know you can't go any further. But until you do that.
And I think the other thing is people don't understand the level of support, because it's not just about social workers supporting you, it's about other foster carers supporting you.
That's right,
you know,
because
you make friends within, you know, the community. And when you live on your own, like I do and you do, then that can be quite important.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's other people with different experience can advise you how to work with particular children, because they've met similar children before. I mean, nobody's the same, but, you know.
And do you find, I mean, you were both talking about being older foster carers. Do you find that that can be an advantage?
It can be, yeah, because they tend to sort of see you as a sort of grandma type figure, and I do spoil them, but because that's what grandmas are for, isn't it? So, but yeah, I mean, you know, where I live, you know, the children on the street will play with some of the children who come to me, and they'll say, "Is that your nan?" And of course they say yeah, because it's easier. They don't then have to sort of explain, well, no, actually, she's a foster carer who's looking after me, because that's awkward. So they just say yeah. And it means that it smooths over one of the bumps that, you know, comes in their lives, I think.
You do a lot of respite though, don't you? So,
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So that means they're quite short placements?
Yes, because I work full-time as well. That can sometimes, it can be difficult to get a right match for a placement. But it works. They're very good at giving me the right placements, and they just, you know, I just draw on all my years of experience, and also, look, if it's not something that maybe one of my own boys has gone through, maybe I can remember back to, well, they had a friend at the time, and you know, and this is how they dealt with it. So, and I just get very heavily involved with the schools, even if they're with me for 2 weeks. I always say to them, I'm committed to you. You mean everything to you. You're my most important priority whilst you're here. So don't ever hesitate about talking to me about anything, and I'll connect with the schools, and I'll go, you know, I've been to pick up somebody from school, and they've been told, you know, I had a meeting with the deputy head teacher. These things happen. So I'm thinking, driving home, and I'm going, what am I going to do? Oh, I know, such and such did that, didn't they? So, right, we're going to take the dog for a walk straight away today. So we get the dog for a walk. Let's talk this through. And by the time we've done the dog walk, we've hit a solution together. And I'm like, well, you need to do that bit, and then when you've done that bit, I'll do that bit. And but I couldn't do it without the experience that I've had with my own children and my friends and family.
I think it's quite important, the school element as well, is that they know that you're in their corner, and that you will sort of make sure they get the help they need.
I guess it's them feeling that somebody's completely on their side.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, you're an advocate for them.
I've always included the schools, gone big with the schools, and they respond to that as well, the schools.
Very much.
And yeah, it can be a real asset.
Yeah. And Kathy, so you foster a lot of newborns, don't you? You have a lot of newborns. I mean, that must be quite different from, you know, Alison's experience, perhaps.
It is indeed. It's, you know, it's a privilege, really. You know, I can honestly say that the last little one that we've moved on is one of the absolute privileges of my life. If you know that all children make an impact on your life, but our last placement, for some reason, you know, you can't always explain, but that has been one of the top 5 privileges of my life, to look after that little one.
And how old is that child, and how long did you have them?
From 5 days old to just turned 3, and the things we've achieved, the amazing personality that she is just one of those things in your life that you'll remember forever. We'll remember all the children for different reasons, but each and every baby, it's been a privilege, you know.
I've had a couple of placements that have come back to me, because I always say to them, I always do this thing, I always write them a little card that says thank you for being a guest in my house.
Oh.
And I always try to find something positive for them to draw on, and I write down, don't forget that you learned this, or we talked about it, and or always remember this about yourself. And I send it with them, and some of them phone me back up. It's got my number at the bottom, and years later they'll say, I've had phone calls saying, I've now got my own place, and I've still got that card that you gave me. And I'm like, what, really? That was just something I do. But I've had a couple of places that have come back to, can I go back to Alison if they've needed to come back for respite? And I've ended up, and I've met one of the parents in A&E. Unfortunately, there was something happened. And I was like thinking, I was like, how's this going to be? And the parent said, I finally get to see you. She talks about you all the time. I said, she was only with me for a couple of weeks 2 years ago and again.
Yeah, you don't realise.
You don't realise the impact, and it's about that being personable. And the mum, as you said, she came in and she said to me, can I go? I said, yeah, she's your daughter. You go. I have to be in the room, but you know, by all means. And then I actually took, when we left, I took the mum home. I said, don't get a taxi. I'll take you home, and you know, and if you, here's my number, give me a call. And
do you find very often it's the small things, the really small things that make such a difference to children who maybe have not experienced those small things?
yes, I mean, I'll give you a very classic example. He came to me as a teenager, 15-year-old boy, and he still had like I don't know what you call it, like a comfort blanket from his parents when he was younger. Been in care for a long time. This blanket was obviously big, draggled and ripped. And I said, would you let me have a go at fixing it for you? And they're like, well, if you don't mind. So I stitched it with so much love, and when they showed it to them when he came home after we'd just been to a contact, and he burst into tears, and I'm like, oh dear, what have I done? Is it something wrong? And it's like, nobody's ever cared enough to fix that blanket. So I always just try and tap into something like that with every placement. I try and gauge, what is it they need? Is it confidence they need? Is it love they need? And sometimes I think, I don't even know what you need. I don't even know if I can give you what you need, but it comes. Just the little things. And I've decided long ago to step back from the bigger picture and go, it's my connection with them. If I connect with them in a way that matters to them, then that's a job well done.